The last passenger. Every night, just after midnight, the city depot receives one final bus that no one can account for. Bus 1134 doesn't appear on any modern schedule. It's not tracked by GPS, doesn't respond to dispatch, and bears an old route number that was retired 20 years ago. And yet, every night at 12:33 a.m., it arrives, silent, rusted, headlights dim, engine humming low like a whisper from the grave. No one sees it approach. It just appears, tires wet as if it had driven through rain, though the skies are always clear. The strange part? Someone always gets off. They look wrong. Like a shadow wearing human skin. They don't speak. They walk straight into the city and vanish. Security cameras glitch every time they step into frame. The driver? Never seen. The depot workers leave it alone. They don't go near bus 1134. They just log the arrival and pretend it isn't there. A silent agreement: don't board, don't ask, don't look. But Ravi, new on the night shift and desperate to prove himself, breaks that rule. He gets on. The bus is cold inside, and every window shows something different: a rainy street, a burning field, a forest at night, none of it matching the city outside. At the very back of the bus, something is carved into the leather seat. If you see yourself sitting here, don't get off. The doors shut. The lights flicker. The bus begins to move. And when Ravi looks into the reflective window, he sees himself. But not the version that got on. The last passenger hasn't returned. Because no one ever does. Chapter 2, The Passenger Who Wasn't There. The next night, the driver returned to Route 1134. He kept telling himself he hadn't seen what he thought he saw. That the woman from the night before, the one who vanished, was just fatigue, a blur of fog and shadows. But as he stepped onto the bus, something felt wrong. The air was thick. Still. Too quiet. He checked the mirrors. Empty. The shift began like usual. A few regular passengers boarded, quiet, sleepy, normal. But at Halford and Pine, the doors opened, and no one stepped on. Still, the driver heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Steady. Walking down the aisle. He glanced in the rearview mirror, nothing. But the sound continued. He turned. Empty aisle. But when he faced forward again, someone was missing. The man with headphones in the back row was gone. The driver hadn't seen him leave. The air felt colder now. Dense. Suddenly, the engine hiccuped. The lights flickered. The radio let out a burst of static before dying completely. The bus stopped. Then, a face appeared in the reflection of the windshield. Not his. It stared back at him, eyes hollow, mouth stretched into a wide, unnatural grin. He turned quickly. No one was there. But now 2 more seats were empty. No one had gotten off. He stood slowly and walked down the aisle. With each step, the overhead lights dimmed and buzzed. At the back of the bus, 1 passenger remained. Someone sitting still, facing forward, body unnaturally still. "Sir," the driver whispered. The figure didn't move. He stepped closer. "Are you?" The figure turned its head. And it had no face. Just smooth skin. And then its mouth opened, wide, far too wide, and from it came no sound, only darkness. The lights blinked out. When they returned, the bus was empty. Everyone was gone. Just the driver. Alone. Then he felt warm breath against his ear, and a whisper followed. "Now you ride forever." Chapter 3, Stops That Shouldn't Exist. Amir knew Route 1134 like the back of his hand. After midnight, it made no more stops, straight to the depot. That was the rule. But tonight, the bus slowed down on its own. Brakes hissed. The headlights cut through fog Amir didn't remember rolling in. On the roadside, no signpost, no bench, just cracked pavement and dead trees bending unnaturally close to the road. The door opened itself. Amir's breath caught. He didn't move. Yet the bus's sensor dinged softly, like someone had boarded. But the aisle remained empty. Still, he heard a seat creak behind him. Something, or someone, had taken a seat. He didn't dare look in the mirror. He just kept driving. Minutes later, the GPS glitched, then announced in a distorted voice. "Next stop. Hollow Bridge." Amir frowned. That wasn't on any route. But the bus obeyed anyway. It pulled onto an old, rusted steel bridge Amir had never seen before. Below, black water. Above, nothing but shadow. He didn't touch the controls. The door opened. A tall, still figure stood on the side of the bridge. It didn't walk, just appeared inside, seated halfway down the aisle. Seat 17. Window side. Amir couldn't breathe. It kept happening. Next stop, Junction 0. Next stop, Cemetery Hollow. Each stop more rotted and impossible than the last. The passengers kept boarding. But none of them moved. Some had no faces. Others cast no shadows. He tried to turn around once, just to see who was back there. The moment he stood, the bus lights flickered violently. Every head slowly turned to face him. He sat back down immediately. At 3:17 a.m., the bus stopped again. No announcement. No street. Just a stretch of empty road and fog. But standing outside the open door, was Amir. Same uniform. Same face. But smiling. And then Amir understood. He wasn't the driver. He never was. He was passenger 0. Chapter 4, Dead Air. The bus moved, but the road didn't. Through the window, it looked like they were gliding through a black void, as if someone had erased the world outside. The town had vanished. No streetlights. No houses. No sky. Just an endless stretch of nothing. The digital route screen above the driver's seat flickered once, then died completely. Now there was silence. No engine. No static. No wind. Not even the hum of the tires. I stood up slowly. Where are we? The driver didn't turn. He sat stiffly, both hands on the wheel, staring straight ahead, though there was nothing to see. I glanced behind me. The bus was empty. There were no other passengers. But I'd seen them. The man in the hoodie. The old woman. The teenager with the headphones. They were all on here a moment ago. Hello? I called. No answer. Just dead air. My ears popped. Then again. It felt like pressure building, like I was sinking deeper into something unnatural. I turned toward the driver again. Where did everyone go? His mouth opened slowly, and with a gravel voice that sounded far away, he whispered. They didn't get off. They were taken. The lights above began to pulse, not flicker, pulse. Like a heartbeat. And the air was wrong now, thick, cold, vibrating with something I couldn't see. A low static buzz began to build inside my head, but it wasn't from the speakers. It was inside me. From behind, I heard the sound of movement. Not footsteps, shuffling. Wet. Slow. I turned. There were shadows pressing against the windows, from the outside. But there was no outside. Just blackness. Still, they moved, hands, faces, things I couldn't describe. They pressed harder until the glass bent. I backed away, tripping over a seat, landing hard. The static was louder now, warping my thoughts. I crawled forward. The aisle was longer than before. Like it stretched on for miles, looping forever. The exit door at the back was gone. I pulled myself up and grabbed the driver's shoulder. Stop the bus. He looked at me finally. His face was, not his face. Eyes like black static. A mouth full of whispering teeth. It's not a bus anymore, he said. It's a vessel. The windows burst inward, not glass, but shadows pouring like liquid, slithering across the floor. They moved toward me. I ran down the aisle, past rows of empty seats that somehow weren't empty anymore. Figures sat motionless. All facing forward. Faces hidden. Until one of them turned. It had my face. And it smiled. The emergency exit was ahead. I slammed it open. There was no street. No ground. Just a tunnel of pulsing red light, stretching down, down, down. A voice in my head whispered, "It's your stop." And I stepped into the void. Chapter 5, The Final Loop. I should have been off the bus hours ago. I stand, heart pounding, as the digital sign above the driver flickers again. Route 1134, next stop, Terminus. It's the same message. Over and over. No matter how far the bus drives, it never arrives. Outside, the streets no longer resemble the city. No landmarks. No signs. Just decaying buildings, telephone poles bent at impossible angles, and flickering lights like dying stars. The other passengers are quiet now. Not asleep. Not awake. Just still. Their eyes move sometimes, twitching toward me like they're aware I don't belong. I approach the driver. "Where are we going?" I whisper. He turns. His face is made of static. Behind me, the doors hiss open. A stop. I didn't feel the bus slow down. I didn't hear brakes. But there it is, a small platform in the middle of nowhere, with a single bench and a mirror nailed to a crooked wall. The reflection in the mirror is wrong. It shows me sitting in the seat I just left. Then a voice crackles through the intercom, soft and wet like breath through static. Time to return to your seat. I step back. No. This isn't my stop. The static voice grows louder. Sharper. Almost angry. There are no other stops left. The driver reaches for something beneath his console. I see wires. Needles. A shape like a spine. My hands tremble as I turn back down the aisle. Every seat is now filled with faces I recognize. They're all me. Some older. Some disfigured. Some rotting. Each version stares ahead. Except one, who turns and smiles. "Took you long enough," he says. The lights flicker violently. The windows go black. The engine hums a deep, low thrum that vibrates in my bones. The bus moves again. Back into the loop. Back into the route that never ends. And I finally understand. No one is the last passenger. We all are.